Ray is just my Facebook handle for like people who I don't want to find me. So
Okay,
just go here.
that's that's fine. That's like my Facebook handle, which you don't mention. You should not mention my Facebook handle. Uh, but yeah, officially I don't have Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
get that. I get.
yeah. So we'll use Ray, and you can call me Justin.
Okay, Justin.
Okay. This is sometimes me and the guys. Anybody available? Actually, we just talk about games, and this is like we record it because it's kind of fun recording it. It feels like we're important. But no, it's just for fun. So yeah, I was talking to the guys, and the idea was any topic, and the most system agnostic topic I could think of was GMing techniques.
Yeah.
Ray, do you GM?
Yes, I do. I used to GM, well, DM, D&D, back in 3, 3.5, little bit of 4th. I haven't actually gone into 5th yet, so yeah, I'll get cat.
Cats.
Okay.
That's okay. That's normal.
Yeah, I'm sure it happens to a lot of the members. So yeah, but most recently I've been getting into Shadowrun Fifth. I started GMing with Fourth, and I did that for a long time. But with Fifth coming on, sorry, Cat coming through again.
It's okay.
Okay, so now I'm into Fifth. I'm getting into the books. I'm getting into the lore. More Cats coming through. But yeah, yeah, I do Shadowrun. I don't really have a regular group right now. Don't know if I have the time for one, but I'm always up for one shots, and I've done a few over the past couple months.
Okay. What do you are you aware or conscious about the techniques you use as a GM?
Um, well, that's the thing, though. I mean, before I started being active or participating in these GM talks, I never really thought about what I did. It's more of a like a little organic thing that just came out of like out of need, like some of the stuff that I had to do for me to get the game going, to get the game flowing, and that kind of stuff. But I guess like from the recent talks of the GM talks, uh, yeah, I'm starting to realize like some of the stuff that I do, like other GMs do too, and I'm getting a little more conscious about what I'm actually doing, these little techniques that I depend on to keep the game running.
Okay. Could you name or do you have a technique? You can describe it if you don't know if it has a name or anything.
Well, I don't know if it has a name or anything. Let's see. One of the things, well, I know it's supposed to be system agnostic, but I think again the whole organic thing because it arises from the nature of the stuff that I'm running. Like for example, Shadowrun. Okay, so Shadowrun is well, it's crunchy. It's very
Yeah.
simulationist. Rules, sub-rule systems, subsystems. Like if you want to do anything, there's a page for it that you have to go through the book somewhere. Um, it gets very quickly overwhelming for a player if they want to do anything in the game, like for you to explain the rules and all that. So one of the things I like to do basically is just on my end, I should know all the rules or as much of the rules as I can, and then the player doesn't have to know them, and basically he just wants to say what he wants to do, and then I give him his options. Okay, like it's like they're discovering the game more than me explaining everything from the very beginning.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's a official technique or anything, but it's something that I've learned to get people into Shadowrun because that's really hard to do. To get people into Shadowrun, to get them into like they see the book, it's like 500 pages long, and they get turned off. But I just say no, 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 no. Go ahead, sit down, please don't run away. And then I tell them, yeah, so just you just sit there, tell me what you want to do. I'll tell you the story. You tell me what you want to do. I'll take care of the die rolls and tell you what you need to roll. And yeah, that's it. So that's a good way also to get people into playing something that could get pretty intimidating. And Shadowrun
Um,
is quite intimidating.
do you have like, how do you get people to talk? Like, do you have like, yeah, how do you have a particular approach for getting people to talk? Like, do you ask them first to read call this the material, or do you get a narrative going, then they begin to jam with you? Uh, call this Yeah, basically you're basically how you get them to talk. You have a particular technique for that? Or, yeah.
Uh, well, the first is you have to really set the mood, and Shadowrun is very evocative. No, it's a very evocative setting. So like in the beginning when I'm just explaining the game, I don't explain in terms of rules. I explain in terms of story, of mood, and a quick way to do it is basically to mention like films or anime or cartoons, things that they can get as a reference point. So I throw around stuff like, of course, Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, but also elements of Ocean's 11, or even Inception, that kind of thing. So it helps them get in the mood of things also. And
Mm,
there, to get people to talk, basically, I explain to them like, hey, we're telling a story. We're telling our own story. It's an interactive story. So it would be cool also if we can tell the story together. Um, so yeah, it's a good way to get people into it, and it works most of the time. But again, if you're talking about they haven't really played a lot of RPGs before, much less Shadowrun, it,
mm,
it has its own difficulties also. But I found that it has a pretty high success rate with the
okay.
newcomers.
Okay. So yeah, you get them comfortable first. I notice you
Hmm.
do. You try to talk about something. Call this what you have in common. Setting expectations regarding the visuals, since you're talking about all these movies and
Uh,
the kind of
uh,
story. Is
okay.
that? Am I? Do I get it right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention also is I get the characters, I get the players rather in character by having them talk about their characters. See, so this kind of also
Mm,
sets the tone of the game. Like if they come up with a character concept that's really kind of like it's not that serious. They're just there to have it's cool and they're just there to have fun. It's not really like recently, for example, I had a player who decided that she wanted to play a hacker, and she would play a hacker who was Banksy. That was her pick. She wanted to be Banksy, but in the Matrix, in a virtual Banksy. But the
mm,
concept, she wasn't very good. Parang she wasn't a very good artist, the character, but she just thought she was. So parang kind of a comedy thing going on. So okay. So based on that, I can kind of also set the tone a bit for the rest of the game. Or okay, so there's going to be an element of comedy into it. Not too serious because obviously this character isn't going to be optimized or anything. So I adjust accordingly. So that's one good way also of getting people to kind of say what they expect from the game without directly asking them. Just talk about your character. Like, what's your concept? So the more specific you can get them talking about the character, if they really get into all the details and how they act and all that, that's one good way also of getting people to talk, getting people in character.
um. Yeah. Were you able? What GMing seminars were you able to participate in, so that I can like try to figure out what techniques were you able to check out?
Actually, I only managed to catch up to the most recent one for the Girl Gamer
Ah,
panel. So yeah, really, I didn't really get to see the rest of the sessions, but that'll change.
that's okay. Yeah, yeah. Consider this like um, kind of like the panel. It's kind of like what we do, the GMing seminars, except it's just like just a bunch of us, a small group of us, and we talk about like really small topics, specific topics.
Fair, yeah, war stories and and getting the yeah. They've been asking me to do Shadowrun 101, which I'm not sure how to go about.
Well, yeah, already what we talked about, you're getting comfortable, particularly when you're like talking about um, the media that inspires Shadowrun. I'm sure it's in the bibliography in the last part or in the index.
Yeah, there
Um,
is.
uh, what movies to talk about when
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Shadowrun. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. So, did they talk about any like Fabs hasn't uploaded yet? Actually, typically it's me who upload the. I'm the one who uploads the videos, but things happened. I couldn't be the one to record last time. So,
Mm,
do you have any techniques take away from the discussion, particularly when since Toby talks about the system agnostic material, like what you can do in your game, no matter what system.
uh, asking me about what I learned from seminar. Oh,
Alex, I will mute you for a while. Is that you? Was that? Oh, okay. Sorry. Uh, anyway, sorry. You were saying.
so no, I just wanted to clarify. Were we talking about stuff that I picked up from the seminar, or
Yeah, yeah. Anything new that came from the seminar or came from any other source recently? Anything you've read about or talked about or studied about?
well, from the seminar? I didn't really get to attend much. I
Ah,
managed to the Grill panel, the very last discussion from the last seminar. Um, so I haven't actually attended any of the talks yet because
oh, that's okay.
we
It's slowly gaining momentum.
yeah, yeah, it's getting there. Also, get the word out, get more people, and there's RPG presence in the club now, which is cool, which we want to encourage also. And I think the GM seminar is helping that a lot.
Okay. Are some of them interested in gaming? In the call this Marauders?
The Marauders, what do you mean, like the RPGs?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, just playing.
we have people who are interested, but the problem is uh, well, it's not really a problem. Like the Marauders at this point, well, now it's a really big club, but the core group isn't really for RPGs. It's really mostly wargaming. But for me
Ah,
though, the earliest gaming I ever did was RPG. I was playing AD&D. So and then that's really what got me on my geeky path. So so
uh,
from there it went different directions. It went to board games. It went to and war games is actually the most recent development in like in my hobbies, my gaming hobby.
um,
So yeah, that's
uh,
the,
do you mind me asking like who your GM was when you like are they from the generation of roughers, the guys in their 40s right now?
no, dude. Because when I started playing, it was in school. So it was basically just a bunch of guys, and we knew absolutely nothing. We didn't know what we were doing. The GM didn't
Ah,
know what he was doing. GM didn't know what he was doing. We'd take turns, and it was kind of a very exploratory thing. So I mean, we didn't really organize, but it's just mostly us, you know, dicking around.
Oh, okay. Here's a some question I realized I could ask. Is there any technique you developed from back when you started and when you compare how you GM or game now?
Mm, well, I've gotten a lot more loose when it comes to moving the plot along.
Hmm.
Because when I realized when I was younger that when I was not GMing as in the beginning of my GMing, I was very heavily dependent on like the story that I had in my head or the module. It's how the module's supposed to go, but you know, like they say, like a plan never survives contact with the enemy. So,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
the player's the enemy here, pero so many maybe a bad choice. But uh, so being a lot more loose and just letting the players go, but also maintaining the same balance. Na hey, I mean, we're starting to digress a bit here. Uh, I know I'm rambling. It's kind of hard for me to really
Like,
pin
it's okay. I
this tightrope.
Yeah, I can understand your the concept you're talking about. Basically, as you grow up, as you develop or matured, you got more adaptive, you got more improvisational, you learned more tricks that allows you to move the attention or you know direct the player better without him feeling like he's um, being
Uh,
pushed or call
yeah,
this
because
being led.
yeah, that's true. I realized early on that about railroading, which I only really discovered the term like a couple years ago, the whole railroading thing. And but I thought when I heard about it, it's like I realized, oh, so that's what I was doing. It was, oh, sorry, cats.
It's
Uh,
okay.
that was railroading, and but by that time though, I had found other ways to get players to where they needed to be story wise.
Yeah, you brought up railroading. That's actually related to what we're doing because railroading actually, if you boil it down, it's actually a technique. It's strong arming your players to do something,
Yeah,
removing the illusion, removing the sense of agency, and actually, yeah, that's basically what it is. You're removing their empowerment
yeah,
by limiting the choices.
exactly. And while it's also good for some players because they need the direction, but it really restricts them a lot. And part of the fun of why we do what we do, why we play what we play, is because we want the players to have like this degree of freedom that they won't get anywhere else. Like they're not gonna be doing this like in a computer game. They can't have complete freedom. Even the sandbox games, there are only certain set paths you can take it. But with something like a tabletop RPG, like it's really your imagination that like you can really use your imagination to go in different directions, and that's the advantage of it. And I really wanted at some point to play up that advantage.
Oh yeah. You should you should. It's a shame you weren't able to see Toby's call this talks. Actually, it's recorded. We have it on YouTube, so I can post the
Yeah,
links
I
later
should
on.
really should take the time to watch all of those.
Yeah. Me. Just a little bit about myself. Me and my brother Jobert. He's I have a younger brother that's a bit. Yeah, he's a smarter than me. He's a bit of a prodigy. And one of the things he took very well, he mastered very quickly, enviously, was GMing. And growing up with a younger brother who can outdo you, even though I'm 4 years older than him, was very competitive.
Okay, okay.
But because we were very competitive, we gaming. Uh, I don't know if so. What happened is we would talk about techniques a lot, and we would play under so many other GMs and would rip off their techniques shamelessly. Um, there's this guy. He's not GM. He's a player. His name is Henry Vargas. He's one of the funniest guys we've ever met, and me and my brother basically call this copied a lot of his techniques. His techniques for being funny is pushing the limit, as in he can sense where you're uncomfortable, and he will go there as a player.
Okay.
So like he would play a gay cherubim in Nomine. He would he would role play Cheech Marines, and he would just do it so well, and he'd get into character, and he knew when people felt uncomfortable, but they would be laughing, and he would just keep going there, and he could sense it, and it's just he would crack up everybody because he had that intuition for it, and my brother picked it up after a while, and uh, yeah, he became incredibly hilarious after that. In Ateneo, he kind of like was the call this one of the more active GMs. I can't say he's the more popular GM, but um, he got really good really fast. So uh, we kind of got into techniques, and after a while, one of the other guys who I ever met who's really good, um, uh, actually is Toby. That's why I always keep praising him. But if you understand, like I come from this very competitive mindset when it comes to GMing. I mean, used to be very competitive, but more of like what's that one? That's a concept of self-constant improvement. Kaizen about GMing. I'm very Kaizen about it. But when I played under, oh my god, when I played under Toby, he gives you agency. That technique that Henry does, where he pushes you where you're uncomfortable. You can't do that to Toby, because he will go with you. He will not only go with you, he will know 2 steps ahead of you where where you're gonna go. So it's like uh, it's that's why I was like when that's one of the things that impressed me about Toby. That's why when it comes to like gaming techniques, jamming techniques, it's like holy crap, this guy was able. He can control Henry, and Henry had played under Toby a couple of times, and he tries to play when he can, but
Mm,
it's one of those things that and Toby goes a lot about the techniques. He openly shares it. Like when one of his other talks, I'm like, whoa, this is overload. Each technique he talks about, he maybe spends like a couple of minutes, 5 minutes talking about it. But if you try to implement it, it'll take some time to practice it. You know what I mean? It's like one thing is somebody says the technique, another thing is actually trying it out and practicing it.
yeah, yeah, it's the thing though. When we were talking about like different things that we could do with the GM seminars, that's one of the things that I suggested that maybe to have like a demo or a practical application of the theories or like the techniques discussed. Um, I'm not really sure how we're going to implement this, but in my head, I had like a meta role play. But basically, you role play a situation where you're GMing, and you have people play the roles, and you try to apply what you just learned. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I think that
That
would be
can
cool
work.
too.
That can work. Actually, I used to be call center industry also, so I I sat into a lot of the training in call centers.
Yeah, role play. So
Yeah, you do a lot of role playing in call center industry. So uh, you can have a seminar wherein you get participants of the seminar. It just shows a mastery of improvisation. Is just to take 8 people or 5 people from the ones who just showed up and just improvise with them. Like uh, go through each technique. Uh, and of course, since you're like making everything up, since you're like you don't have any character sheets there or something, you can just make up the details as you go, just to become examples
yeah,
of it.
that's true. Yeah, it
Uh,
could be heavily improvisational also, but I think we could also like set up certain situations, like yeah. So just so we could insert the techniques just discussed in the previous talk, for example. Like you have this talk and then exercise, talk and then exercise, which I think would give a really good appreciation, I think,
yeah,
of
yeah,
what we just talked about. Like, they get to see it in practice also.
yeah. You're right. Actually, we could do that as the next format. We some GMs can take a handful of the techniques they've mastered and are willing to share, and some guys who want to try it out can try it out.
Oh, yeah, we can do it like American Idol style. Well, you have a panel of judges, and
Oh yeah, they're just being constructive. The panel you could have like the experienced GMs, the meta GMs, the GMs who are like uh, it's bad to compare GMs.
I'll be Randy. I'll be the no, the I don't know dog.
I don't know, dog. No, I feel you. I feel you. Your
I
GMing
feel.
coming through.
I mean, I got respect, but
And then you have that guy who does the Simon thing. I don't know. I
that was terrible.
I'm sure the gamers they can like at least do a mediocre impression of that as they run the game as they run the session. But I think that you have that idea um, is something we should try. It makes people more involved and like if you make it
Yeah,
like first come first serve, it allows people to wanna check it out. And it could
yeah,
be that.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, you're sorry.
No, no, no. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, just so people would be able. The thing was with the seminars is you have these people who are. I mean, it's cool and all because I've watched some of the footage from the seminars. Though it seems like at some points the audience, it's hard to see if the audience is really retaining the stuff that we're discussing.
Yeah,
Because I'm a teacher, so and one of the things that I constantly have to test for is retention, and the best way really to get that to ensure that retention is that there is retention of what you just discussed is to have them try it out, to give you a demo of what they just learned. And they might not even be good at it, but the fact that they're picking up on the techniques that you just talked about is, yeah, I think that would be good also.
I agree. As soon as you can practice it, for me that's how I learn. I mean, I might sound weird because sometimes I learn something and I try to do it like on the corner or like try to do it immediately.
No, that's perfect. That's the way you learn the fastest. I mean, if it's all theoretical, if it's all just in your head,
Yeah,
then it's really hard to learn something.
yeah. Damn, that's like yeah. I guess we could like do that for the next one. I'll tell the guys in the volunteer group to uh, consider it. And I don't know. I think Because like
Again, I don't know how practical my suggestion is, but yeah.
I think it hits a lot of buttons, right buttons. It's just that these guys are very much very active, very passionate GMs that are very self-critical as well, and there's really no way to like measure how good you are because we try not to do that. We try not to talk about dick size when we GM.
Yeah, that's one thing.
So all you can say is that I humbly show you my skill set. Hope you like it. But like I know, given just the if you look at the people he plays with and the amount of people like how often he does the hobby. Toby's one of the guys who are like can be measured, and it's like uh, really really no he's one of the masters. So I'm like, but I don't want to like say it like and sound like a sycophant. uh, I'm trying to be objective and like uh, I can actually give I can confidently give like name the techniques. I mean, I name the techniques I use. It's very informal because it's the name I give it, not the name people name it. But I can name the techniques he used, and there are a lot, and he does it very well. Um, One of his techniques is falls under the category of cold reading. Have you heard of that skill?
Well, in relation to RPGs, no. But I mean, the cold reading like doesn't have any some that have something to do with like fake psychics.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically it's a mix of uh, techniques. It has a lot of small techniques in it. One of the most common techniques is leading statements. Leading statements is a fallacy. It's leading statements, body language, skill, um, plus the knowledge of the psychology of the player and the character, and you use these statements that are open to interpretation, but the way the player or the person that you're using cold reading on chooses between the statement or answers that statement or answers your query, um, call this determine gives you insight where he is because of like certain rules of thumb heuristics that you learn as you use it. Uh, Again, if you watch Mentalist, that's cold reading. He does it a lot
Yeah.
there. Um, it, he does it very well. Toby does it very well, and he does it so instinctively and naturally that um, it's envious. It's enviable the level of skill he has with it. Um, he knows where you can't go. He knows where what you call this. Parang alam niya kung kailan ka di makapalag. He knows your limits. So it's like it's good actually because when I do that technique, that Henry technique, wherein I push, I do something incredibly. My character does something incredibly stupid, but I own up to it. I don't have any doubt when I follow through. I role play the entire bias and stupidity of it, and Toby keeps giving me a rope to hang myself with, and he just keeps giving that rope generously. And like, I next thing I know, I've dug a huge hole, and he's given me all that material, and like, holy crap! But the vastness of that hole, that or the effectiveness of that noose is something to like. It's kind of awesome. So that's one of those like how he uses that technique effectively. So that's one of the call it. It's envious. It's enviable how skilled he is at that, and it takes a lot of practice. He gives away some of his secrets when he talks about his techniques, and some of them are really hard. Sorry.
No, but yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. But see, that's my problem also is that I'm kind of way behind the curve since I don't have as much of an exposure to these things as you did, or even the rest of you guys. Which is why disclosure, like my suggestion, was also a little bit selfish because I wanted to see these
No, no,
techniques.
dude,
So
we're all
yeah, I
trying to
mean,
enjoy. Yeah.
would like to be able to see other GMs do what they do because really, I mean, relatively, my exposure is very limited, which is
The-
why I want to be able to see them and to take part, to participate, and learn a lot of new things.
I don't see anything wrong about like having that self-doubt or wanting to know it. It really is something to work towards because okay, imagine that wealth of skill set, and yet very few people appreciate it. It's like, oh my God, I saw like just having like a small percentage of this does wonders to my game. Oh my God, like uh, he does pushing. It's a term called psychic pushing. I heard the term from Hannibal. You have heard of that? Have you seen the series?
A few episodes here and there, but I don't think I'm familiar with that one, the psychic
Uh,
pushing.
uh, I described it like psychic pushing because he's like one of the techniques Toby used. He gave away like how he did it in the no in the his discussion, but the amount of emotional investment he can generate out of a game makes people like cry. And
I've heard of that. Like that's one. That's like when I was talking to one of the guys at the club when he was talking about, oh, Toby gonna he made one of his players cry. So it's reached like urban legend proportions at this point.
yeah, but I was in one of those games, and like uh, the technique he does, I don't want to give it so much away. I'd rather like, especially if it's in a public thing, but because it demystifies his technique, and it's like
Tune
so
in
much
next time,
work.
right?
Well, yeah, I know it's just one viewer, but it's still like a recorded thing. But yeah, I can discuss it later on, but it's in private. But like yeah, uh, just even the ones he gave about like the priming and all these other things, he does it very well. Sorry, I'm gushing about the technique. So it's the cold reading and what they call in that Hannibal episode, psychic pushing. Yeah, something to look forward to when we try to talk to the other seminar guys too. Like, hey, let's have a live session,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
and everybody's like looking to all the other GMs are like looking towards Toby. uh, to what you call this to sit before the master and listen. Yeah, but yeah, the other guys are also very skilled. Uh, just to give it, just to call this, give a hint of what the other guys can do. I see Jay. Have you played with Jay? Were you able to join his L5R games?
Not the L5R, but he recently ran a one shot of Numenera at B&B.
Hmm.
So, no.
Yeah. Jay, Mark, VJ, Chris, or Fabs. Actually, all of them, Fabs, all of them actually have great call this techniques. I just don't know if it's fair if I simplify or generalize it, especially in a recorded medium. Given that I've gushed so much about Toby, because like, like every time he does his talks, it's like taking serious notes. And the other guys, I take notes too, but like not as much as when Toby does. a talk. So I'm like, uh, oh yeah, okay. So next time we'll try to like push for like the what do you call it? Is practice session? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, or I don't know, a practical, no,
Applied, yeah, the term
applied
or
something.
applied session, applied techniques. I guess it'll be applied techniques. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Anyway, Mark already gave the schedule. I think it's end of May. It's
Maybe
in the
31st.
volunteers.
Yeah, I'm setting aside like a time already. I set that aside for you for the seminar.
Oh, okay, okay. The time is just stuff. Wait, are you? Wait, who do they coordinate to in gaming library? Oh, sorry. Maybe, sorry. I just realized should that be discussed on a recorded medium? Yeah, we'll
No,
talk about that
but
later.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
Okay, okay. So, well, we can, yeah. So, just to summarize, we when we talk, we were able to talk about your some of your techniques. Basically, it's like getting people comfortable. Not just your techniques. I think it's a universal technique to talk about. Uh,
pretty.
yeah, getting comfortable by talking about call this comfortable topics like media, inspiration, um, getting people to talk about their character.
Yeah,
God.
character concepts and all that. But I mean, it's really basic when you think about it. But when you push people to really talk about their character, not just because some people say, oh, he's a level 5 barbarian and his parents died and now he's on a quest to kill so and so. But it's a character. It's a very broad character concept, but getting them to really talk, to give more details, to really breathe life into the thing, I guess, is what I should have said earlier. But yeah,
Mm.
talk about the character.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's getting to talk about their character, and you're challenging them about their concept of their character. You're not just detailing
Yeah,
it. Um, yeah, one of the techniques I kind of like learned is using cognitive dissonance as a way to call this to flesh out a character. Give an absolute and give the extreme exception of that absolute. Uh, are you familiar with cognitive dissonance? Sorry.
uh, not really.
Okay, it's there's this not school of thought. Yeah, there's this thing called cognitive biases. It's in Wikipedia. It's my catechism. Uh, if you go to Wikipedia and there's a list of cognitive biases, it just shows all these things. Cognitive dissonance is one of the cognitive biases. It means conflict of belief. You're holding two conflicting beliefs. You could say what you call this. You could be of a particular set of belief. Let's say you're a feminist, but you're conflicted, but you're a man, and you grew up um, with machoist ideals, and you cannot sense when your machoist ideals are conflicting with uh, egalitarianism or equality. You get that?
Yeah,
Does that make sense? Uh, okay. So yeah, cognitive dissonances. They're my favorite go-to. Because typically everybody has their own preconceived notions. Everybody's not aware when they are being hypocritical, like myself. I mean, I'm sure I've said something during the week that is hypocritical um, to what I just said a day ago or 7 days ago. I'm sure of it, and I'm not aware. So something like that. It's always one of the easy. It's the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to um, making a person have a hard decision when it's their most core beliefs conflict. Uh, yeah, it's a hard technique, but it's always one. It's usually you can sense it when you're like asking questions. You usually touch religion, you touch ideology, political ideology. Typical. You ask those things about the character, like what you and gender roles,
Mm.
sexuality, those kinds of questions when you ask it on a character, like a D&D character or a Shadowrun character. Typically, there's a always most of the time. Sorry, most of the time, not always. There's always an inconsistency because nobody, even like nicest guys, aren't consistent. In fact, that's the inconsistency is what they struggle with. Um, what's that? There's an anime that they call this. That's farming. That farming anime. Silver Spoon. Have you heard of it?
Sorry, what was that?
Have you heard of Silver Spoon? This anime.
No.
Um, the character there, he's ennobling because as much as he loves the animals that he takes care of, he is always forever conflicted eating them. Uh, I mean that's an example. Help. So like, that's another technique. Um, call this always when you deal with a character, you get their cognitive dissonance. You put it in your GM notes, and anytime, like once in a game or twice in a game, you stick it to him.
Push
Yeah, yeah. You complicate the situation by using his cognitive dissonance. Like the person that they just rescued is someone that he would have if he would have not rescued, and all these consequences brought about uh, you know, something terrible. Character. Oh, sorry. God, I think I got carried away talking about this topic.
No, it's fine. Cool. It's cool.
Okay.
Because I mean, when you talk about cognitive dissonance, now when I think about it, like yeah, I never really had a name for it, but yeah, I mean like challenging the player in that way, where you have their character questioning their beliefs and like confronting that. I'm pretty sure at some point I've done that. Nothing really comes to mind specifically at the moment, but yeah, it's cool that I now have something to call it.
Would you do it again? Would you do that kind of challenge?
Um, well, that's the thing though. Now that I'm more self-conscious about it, yes, I would, but I think it would be hard for me now to really consciously engineer those situations. I mean, I guess it'll really take some practice for me to do it consciously, to really plan these things out. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's another tool in the in the DM toolbox that I can just pull out.
Okay. Here's one example of some practical. Let's do a little practicum. Well, no, it's called. I think it's called
Practice.
practicum. Yeah. So I'm this player. I have this character. I'll give you an archetype of the character. Let's say I'm a strong female character that in a medieval setting, and I believe men are call this. This is a character from the Red Knight, Sir Allison. She used to be a whore.
Okay.
Uh, she calls herself a Sir Allison. She
Okay.
believes that she's as strong as any other man. This is a call this? How would you? What situation would you do to conflict me? I'm a woman, but I believe men to be stronger. In fact, I believe men to be stronger that I minimize my femininity. I do not. I think all my female aspects except my body is a weakness. So I try to like posture like a man. I act like a man. I
Mm.
I overcompensate. How would you afflict a cognitive dissonance to me?
Okay. First thing that popped into my head is to have her confront another form of femininity. In this case, I'm thinking maybe uh, of a woman who's strong, like conflict with another woman who is strong in another way. Like for example, something like someone instead of completely rejecting, like from the character description that you said, like this character's rejected the femininity in order to
The
her
female form.
femininity to survive, to become stronger, but instead to have her go up against another character that's gone the opposite way to basically embrace the femininity, like
Oh, that
woman.
your phone is alert.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay,
Just answer.
okay.
Uh, Wait, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead. I just have to answer this, but I'm listening. But yeah, I think like that's a start. That's like the germ of an idea that I have to have conflict
yeah.
with a mirror of herself, like how she could have gone another way,
Okay,
maybe.
pull out a strong female character that
Hold on,
is
sorry.
counterintuitively uh, feminine.
Hello,
Yeah.
I can't.
Can you hear me?
Issues. Hold on, sorry.
Sure. Someone's calling your.
Hello, hello.
Okay, try again. I think it's okay now. Oh wait. Okay, can't hear you. Okay, there.
Hold on. I'll drop the call and join
Okay.
again. Hello,
I can hear you from your cell phone. There.
hello,
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
hello,
Low, low, low. Oh, there. Okay. Yep, I can hear you.
hello. Can't.
Uh,
Hello.
how's that? Better? Okay. Is that okay? Oops. Okay, let's Ray. Oh shoot! Did I just uh, hold this? Let me get it. It's in my other. Uh, yep. I have a cold. There. There. Sent. There. I wish I can pause this. Maybe just edit it out. Okay, dead air. Don't. Uh, so yeah, another just pull something out of nowhere technique. Okay, how's this? Okay. Okay. Okay, and how's that? Can you hear me? There.
Hello?
Yep, I can hear you. And loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just setting up the video again. Sorry. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, that's
Something
okay.
went on with the call.
Yeah, I think it's the alarm stuff. Oh yeah, so just pull out any situation that would you think that would generate a conflict of uh, a conflict of belief.
Uh, I don't know if you heard my idea earlier.
Another
The
strong woman, but strong in a different way.
strong in a different way, like basically like holding up a mirror to instead of some of the way that she's rejected her femininity, we have someone who embraced it and went the other way.
Like a mother.
So, sorry.
Like a mother? A matron?
Uh, like
Matriarch?
yeah, I had something in more in mind. Like more of like someone to go up against like in the game conflict, like a recurring character, a villain maybe, or an NPC. Uh, I'm thinking like a noble woman who uses intrigue and like everything she hates about using womanly wiles, and she manipulates men into thinking she's weak, and kind of embracing that image so that she uses it to her advantage, something like that.
Okay.
Playing around with that. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to I'll need to flesh out that character even more, but I
So,
think that might just to hold up the mirror really to
hmm.
this.
So she's okay. So we established that this is something she doesn't like. So you put her in a position that is uncomfortable for the character. So what kind of examples of uncomfortable positions would, let's say, Sir Alice have with this noble woman? You can think of off the top of your head.
Um, hmm, uncomfortable situation where this woman, well, basically, to have this woman have power over her, to control her, and
Yeah.
basically to see that, like, even with everything you've done, everything that you've built, like this warrior, this strong warrior that you've become, even after all that, you're still, you're still bested by someone who is everything that you rejected
Yeah.
earlier in your life.
Okay, you got it.
So,
It's nice. So
so,
like,
so something like,
yeah. I imagine like uh she's in a position of power, like she's the wife of a general, and the general
and
commands
she
Sir
just,
Alice.
yeah, exactly. And then I can imagine her parang, like kind of using womanly wiles on her, like trying wheedling her husband into doing something. But Sir Alice knows that she's doing it, and this noble woman knows she knows, and she's showing her how easy it is to have like having her husband wrapped around her little finger and getting things done, and something like that.
Okay. How do you make it worse? Would it be worse if they were antagonistic, or the relationship was more complicated than just antagonistic?
I think you know the term frenemy,
Yeah, yeah.
something along those lines, where you have their nominally they're allies, but she's always jockeying for position. And I
They're in a
guess also you can
position to
make the
hurt each other.
yeah, you can make the conflict like it's not unilateral. It's they feel the same for it's mutual. They feel the same for each other. They see in each other like a rejection of what they are. Like it invalidates what they are and what they've worked hard to become. Parang
Uh,
ganon.
I like that wording. Invalidates. Um,
So yeah, yeah.
I think
I think that would
what
that
if
might work.
what if the matron had a daughter, and the daughter is curious about Sir Alice. Would that make situation
Ah,
worse, or how would that do? What would that do to the situation? What would you do to that? Or think of something that would complicate it even more.
we bring in a daughter. Uh, let's see. I'm thinking the daughter could be their battleground, eh?
Yeah, that could be, yeah.
Like, like they're, I don't know, um, they're trying to get daughter to see things their way, to be the woman the way they envision how a woman should be.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Like,
though to get into the specifics of how they actually do that, I'll need to think a little bit more
it's
about that. But that's my concept. Like they will be, air quotes, fighting over the daughter, like trying to basically they're proving their point that
yeah,
this
yeah.
is how you succeed in life, and to convince the daughter about that.
So,
Making things uncomfortable though. I have to think about that.
the daughter has the potential to do either.
Yeah.
Unlike the mother had no way of becoming like Sir Alice, strong in that way. She's very feminine. Alice
Uh,
has no way to be like the mother, um, courtier-like, political,
yeah.
and the
Yeah.
daughter has both, and
She
that those
shows
talents are
yeah,
warring. Yeah, yeah.
she shows an aptitude for both, and that can be something that you could play up maybe. And it would make an interesting hook, though. Again, the whole uncomfortable thing. That's I'm having trouble with that there. How to push things to make things uncomfortable for both the character and the player.
Uh,
That's
what makes you uncomfortable? It's like, try to imagine the scene if you were sitting there and you'd be like, when when something happens, you'd be like trying to get out of the room, or uh, uh, could you imagine? I mean, like, is your well, actually, yeah, is your intuition or is your imagination going there in a way? Stuff that you don't want
mm,
to look at, something that this would just make things worse.
ah, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Eh. Pero
uh, actually, I'm thinking of,
uh,
yeah, just I mean, just yeah. Basically, that's like the formula to it is exploring something that you're not comfortable with because you want to look at the angles. Sorry, that's my technique uh, for it. Um, I do it to my players. Uh, I do it to their characters, and they they are very much invested in their characters because I give them a lot of shit. Uh,
so my question to you is when you do this when you push, are you pushing the character or the player?
mm, ah, um, uh, Players. It's normal for the players to get invested in the characters. If they're not invested, then they
Hmm.
won't roleplay as well. Once you turn on your empathy button, uh, you can't help but be invested. Now, but
No, but when
yeah.
you talk about like uncomfortable situations, are you thinking of a situation that would be uncomfortable for the character, or if you really want to push it, something that would be uncomfortable for the player?
Actually, the first thing I always feel is what's uncomfortable to me as Justin, me. But
Mm,
that's the first thing I feel. Then I try to apply lenses of empathy on it. Like, but I'm this
mm,
character. I grew up with this kind of. I spent my whole life doing this. Of course, I wouldn't want this because that because I spent my whole life invested in this. Uh,
okay.
I mean, it's a call this an emotional mnemonic. Uh, First you feel it, you remember, you kind of like pick it up. Okay, this is how I would, but I'm not that character. That character's not me. So I'll, you know, whoop, empathy. What would this character feel like?
Hmm.
I mean, well,
Wow.
sorry. Yes, the thing about techniques, mental mnemonic techniques, it plays to our strengths. Uh, I it takes a while for me to figure out another person's strengths and psychology. You know, it's that's why it's easy for me to manipulate players I've been playing with for a while.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of figure them out first before you start pushing it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and yeah, this technique might not work for you. Uh, but I think the essence of it is you're visualizing a set of consequences that are uncomfortable, replaying scenes from your own experience, how awkward situations occur, the formula for awkward situations. Like whenever people don't effectively communicate, uh, and uh, yeah. God, like, or like hell, gamers. Um, a very simple archetype of gamers is that gamers, geeks, trip over trying to communicate their interests. They cannot control the nerd jacking compulsion, and it costs them. It's pain. It's painful for them not to be able to talk about it uh, or explore it, and that becomes like um, that pain becomes your like button. Like, how do I express that pain in this kind of character? Uh, 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 yeah, it's kind of like getting all the things that makes you feel bad or triggers your negative, a negative set of experiences or negative sets of emotions, and
I know.
trying to, yeah. So it's kind of like that. So it's like, but the thing about it is like that's really role playing because you're like really digging deep. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and oh, it's pretty much that's a lot of yeah. Wow, that's deep. Yeah, so that's like an example of a technique, and it's like one of those techniques like uh, could say my little hack for getting conflict, internal conflict. Uh, and oh my God, when the player feels what you call this uncomfortable, I feel uncomfortable for them too. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where your player feels uncomfortable and you're trying to fix the scene because they feel a bit more uncomfortable than your intended.
Yeah.
Um, I have one of my players. I'm role playing Normans. Have you heard of Normans? The Vikings that turn into French knights.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Normans are assholes. I mean, like they're super assholes. In the Red Knight, because Christian Cameron, the writer, he role plays he writes a character very much like a Norman. Uh, call this arrogant, very powerful, lying, sees other people, non-warriors, as subhuman, and I was treating that player's character as subhuman because the Norman NPC is his boss,
Okay.
and it treats him subhuman. And the player got shocked by how small the other person thought he was. He was like stumbling to call this to say something to counter. Sorry,
No, sorry, that's mine. Hold on.
it's okay.
Hello?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
um so that's kind of like what happened, and that was like uh and it all of a sudden flashbacks to bullies. If you've ever experienced a bully seeing you with disgust or using you to to prop themselves up or to feel superior to you, uh, kind of flashback to all those memories of bullies all of a sudden, and I was like, oops, uh, gotta fix that. Uh, yeah, but like, yeah, it's one of those. It's a very dangerous. I guess it is a bit of a dangerous technique because it is does dig a little bit deeper. But that's why I wanted to talk about it with other guys, and what do you think about it?
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Webcamming. Yeah. Sorry. Uh, Wait. Hold on. Sorry, dude. I have a. Let me just take care of something. I have a guest. I'll just give
Well,
something
no,
to.
we can end it if it's like okay, because it's not really like a bit, it's not like a show. Are you gonna be busy?
Let's get more interesting. Um. Uh. Okay. So, sige, so let's just call it a night, I guess, because it's near bedtime anyway. And
Yeah, it's
yeah,
almost midnight. Sorry about
but
that.
yeah, but yeah. Thanks so much, because this was a really good way for me to, like, this is basically a crash course of what you guys have been talking about for the longest time now, and things that I've been missing out, not going to the GM seminars.
Yeah, you should
And
go.
yeah, well, I'll definitely be at the next one because apparently I'm a speaker now.
Yeah, you
um,
are.
um, well, they're trying to get me to be a speaker, but
Go do it.
yeah, Uh, yeah, and I would just, I mean, if it really generates more interest for Shadowrun, then I would do it, just to get more people to play and maybe other GMs, and I don't have to GM all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, and I see that you have to entertain another person, so we can wrap this up.
But yeah, thanks, dude, for having me. Looking forward. Are we having another hangout sometime soon, or?
Yeah, sorry, the reason why I made this was because my internet just got fixed, and I wanted to see how good it was, and my God, we did it all on video, so it's actually a
That's
really good
good.
sign. Yeah, so we can try next week or the week after. If anyone feels like it, I can set one up, or I can teach you how to set one up.
Yeah, sure, cool. And it would be cool also to have like other people in pagulan ng usapan.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. It's gonna be next time because I know I did this 2 days notice. Normally it's a week notice and stuff, but schedules.
Okay, okay. Cool, dude. So yeah, and yeah, one of these days we should game because really, like I said, I mean, I would like to get more exposure to the way other people GM and the way other people play because I haven't had that much chance to do that since I basically game with the same group of people most of the time.
I'll try to drop by on a weekday there in
No,
in
we have to plan this thing because like it's really hard to schedule stuff in the club. Well, not really that hard for a weekday, but for us to get like a good crowd together, I think we could plan something.
weekdays on Hangouts because it doesn't require any.
Oh, oh, hangouts, you mean? Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Actually, yeah, that would work.
I game on Hangouts, by the way. That's why I'm like, yeah, this is how I game. This is through this.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So
Sige, sige.
sure, okay. Uh, take care, dude. Good luck in that with your guest and stuff.
Okay. Sige. And thanks for having me, man.
Okay, thanks for going.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Ending broadcast.